Damiris Dantas to miss 4 games in late June, early July, and she'll go to Chile to play in an American W Cup with the Brazilian team.
2 minutes ago, the WNBA world was flipped upside down. Damiris Dantas suddenly walks away from the Chicago Sky, while Caitlin Clark, yes. The Caitlin Clark has just made the most shocking decision of her career. Fans are in disbelief. Coaches are scrambling, and social media exploding. What's going on behind the scenes? Why did Dantas ditch the team? And WHY is Caitlin Clark quitting Team USA right before the Olympics? Let's dive into the chaos. Just 2 minutes ago, the WNBA world was rocked by a double shocker. Damiris Dantas has abruptly left the Indiana Fever. And at the same time, Caitlin Clark, America's college basketball darling, has stunned everyone by stepping away from Team USA while both stories are developing fast. Today we're focusing entirely on the first domino to fall, Damiris Dantas and her mysterious exit from the Fever. Damiris Dantas, a seasoned Brazilian forward, was brought into the Indiana Fever fold with the
doesn't even seem it's worth playing. So if that's against Asia, how is she meant to deal with Neka? Who, newsflash, has been better than Asia Wilson. Neka's been better than Asia. She's not good enough to come on and play against Asia Wilson. Then how is she going to be good?
The hopes of balancing experience with rising talent. A veteran of both international play and WNBA battles, Dantas was seen as a stable hand on the ship that was rapidly being rebuilt around rookies like Caitlin Clark. But just when things seemed to be coming together, Dantas suddenly disappeared. From the lineup, rumors swirled. Was it injury? A trade? Fallout behind the scenes? Hours later, confirmation arrived. Dantas had been released. And just like that, the Fever lost a veteran voice in their locker room. In any fast-evolving team, dynamic, egos, strategies, and playing time can become pressure points. The Fever's sudden stardom, largely due to Caitlin Clark's arrival, brought media chaos and a complete shift in offensive structure. While some players thrive in the spotlight, others can feel overlooked or undervalued.
Score late. Return is not even being defended. I just don't know why this is what ended up happening. I don't know how the Fever are in a kind of situation where your choices are play Returner or don't, or play a nobody. Like we're left with Returner, but I'm talking about Returner earlier on in the video that's going out a little later.
Insiders suggest that Dantas was visibly frustrated in recent practices, occasionally clashing with coaches over her reduced role. Though no one has gone on record, a few anonymous sources noted that the atmosphere in the Fever locker room had become tight, not necessarily toxic, but tense. Dantas, who thrives in rhythm and consistency, may have found the constant adjustments in camera scrutiny to be overwhelming or disruptive to her flow. Dantas is no stranger to injury. Over the past 2 seasons, she's had to manage recurring ankle and back issues. She had returned this year in seemingly good shape, but close observers noticed her minutes being limited and her impact dulled. Was she still recovering or managing herself ahead of Brazil's Olympic qualifiers? With Paris 2024 looming and Brazil eyeing a solid performance on the international stage, it's not unreasonable to think Dantas and her management team chose a strategic exit. Leaving the WNBA grind early could allow her to rehab in peace, train with Brazil's squad, and come back at full strength without the pressure of media, marketing, and the Clark-centric circus that is Indiana right now. The WNBA is not only about talent, it's about cap space, contracts, and chessboard moves. Caitlin Clark is not just a player, she's a business. Every decision Indiana Fever makes now has to be strategic, forward-thinking, and flexible. Cutting a veteran like Dantas might have been less about her performance and more about freeing up money and roster spots. With the trade window still open and the possibility of adding another veteran guard or floor spacer to complement Clark's long-range shooting, some analysts believe Dantas' departure could be step one of a bigger plan. Keep an eye on the waiver wire. Indiana might already have someone lined up as soon as the news broke. Social media lit up with reactions. Wait, WHAT, Damiris Dantas gone just like that. No farewell, no injury report. Something's up. This team is turning into the Caitlin Clark show. Veterans getting pushed aside left and right. A toe sleeving might be good for her. Let her rest, heal, and come back strong for Brazil. On Reddit, a popular post speculated that Dantas had been uncomfortable with the rapidly shifting team vibe. It's like everything is about selling tickets and less about chemistry, one user said. Others noted that the Fever have one of the youngest rosters in the league, and that a veteran's exit was inevitable, just maybe not this suddenly, for newer fans who may not know her full journey. Damiris Dantas is far from a bench warmer. She's been a staple of Brazilian basketball since her teenage years and has represented her country at numerous FIBA events. In the WNBA, she made her mark with the Minnesota Lynx, where she showed flashes of brilliance as both a rebounder and a stretch four with a decent outside shot. What makes Dantas valuable is not just stats, it's her experience.com, demeanor, and versatility. That's why her sudden exit from Indiana has struck such a nerve. This wasn't a rookie cutting. This was a seasoned pro stepping away. At a crucial time, there's no denying that Caitlin Clark has become the gravitational center of the Indiana Fever and, arguably, the entire WNBA. Her college dominance translated into sold-out arenas, record-breaking TV ratings, and a media frenzy that few players have experienced this early in their careers. But with that spotlight comes a shadow one that often falls on teammates, especially veterans like Dantas, who aren't used to being sidelined by a rookie. Reporters noted that nearly every question in press conferences revolved around Clark. The attention was overwhelming, and while it energized the fan base, it may have created an unbalanced locker room atmosphere. Dantas, in particular, was seen as someone who preferred to stay out of the limelight. In a team where the limelight is now a blinding spotlight, it's possible she felt out of place. It's also worth considering the broader theme of mental health in professional sports. More athletes today are choosing to step away from environments that don't align with their well-being. From Naomi Osaka to Simone Biles, the culture is shifting. Dantas may simply have chosen peace over pressure. One insider said, "We're used to thinking of trades or cuts as failures. But sometimes walking away is actually a player taking control of their own narrative." What makes the situation even more mysterious is the relative silence from both parties. The Fever released a short professional statement thanking Dantas for her contributions, but offered no explanation. Dantas, for her part, has remained silent on social media. This lack of transparency has only fueled speculation. In an era where players often share their feelings directly with fans through social media, the silence is ... loud. One theory is that Dantas and the team came to a private agreement. Another is that she asked for her release due to unvoiced disagreements with coaching staff. Damiris Dantas leaving the Indiana Fever isn't just a roster move, it's a signal. Something is shifting in the WNBA, and this could be the first of several dominoes to fall. Whether this was about personal health, team politics, or a deeper strategy, one thing is clear: the Caitlin Clark era in Indiana is reshaping everything around her. And if Dantas felt she didn't fit into that mold, maybe walking away was the strongest move she could make, just when the dust was settling from Damiris Dantas' unexpected departure. Another headline exploded across the basketball world. Caitlin Clark, the face of women's basketball and Team USA's most hyped rookie, has reportedly decided to step away from Team USA ahead of the Paris Olympics. Yes, you read that right. Caitlin Clark, the college basketball phenomenon turned pro, has opted out of representing the red, white, and blue on the biggest stage of all. At first, fans thought it was a joke. Then disbelief turned into outrage. Then questions. Why would she'll do this? Was it injury? Burnout? Drama behind the scenes. As always, there's more to the story than what the headlines reveal. The news broke through a late-night tweet from a well-connected sports journalist, hinting that Clark may be stepping away from international duties. Within minutes, BASKETBALL Twitter lit up. Some said she was ducking the smoke of global competition. Others rushed to her defense, pointing out her brutal WNBA schedule, the constant media pressure, and the unrealistic expectations placed on a rookie hours. Later, it was confirmed Clark would not be part of the final Team USA roster for the Paris Olympics. She wasn't injured, she wasn't suspended. She wasn't even replaced due to performance. She simply said, "Not now." In a statement that was short but pointed, Clark said, "I'm honored to be considered, but I'm focusing on my development. And this WNBA season with the Indiana Fever, there's a lot to grow into, and the Olympics will come again." The basketball world had mixed feelings. Some believed the decision came from a place of humility. Clark, despite her popularity and game-breaking potential, is still a rookie. Team USA is packed with veteran superstars like Diana Taurasi, Breena Stewart, Aja Wilson, and Jewel Lloyd. Maybe Clark felt like she hadn't yet earned her stripes and didn't want to leapfrog legends who had carried the team for years. Others suggested the real issue was chemistry or lack of it. Reports swirled about tension between Clark and certain WNBA players. Some analysts noted that the energy toward Clark from a few veteran stars in games and interviews had been cold, not outright hostile, but distant. Could this have influenced her decision? Then there's the exhaustion factor. Clark's college season ended with a championship run, immediately followed by the WNBA draft, media tours, nonstop games, and intense scrutiny. She has barely had time to breathe, let alone recover. The Olympics would have meant no real off-season at all. Maybe her body and her mind just said no. Fan reaction was predictably polarized. On one hand, there was disappointment. A player like Clark, with her gravity-defying range and ability to draw crowds, could have brought unmatched visibility to the Olympic squad. On the other hand, many fans applauded her maturity. She's 22 and carrying the weight of an entire league's marketing on her shoulders. One user posted on X, "Let her choose peace." Major sports shows debated it endlessly. Some praised her long-term thinking. Others accused her of shrinking from the moment. Even politicians and celebrities weighed in. One NBA legend tweeted, "Gutsy move. It's playing chess." But behind the noise, one question kept echoing. What does this mean for her future in Team USA? For Team USA, the immediate impact is tricky. On paper, they're still the favorites. With a deep roster full of gold medal veterans and elite talent, they don't need Clark to win. But what she brought wasn't just scoring, it was star power. Clark's inclusion could have pulled millions of casual viewers to women's basketball, especially during primetime Olympic coverage. Her absence now feels like a missed opportunity. For global exposure, some insiders hinted that the decision was mutual, that USA Basketball was concerned about media distraction and fit. But without official word, all we can do is speculate. The narrative is being written in real time, and everyone's got a pen. For Clark, this could be a calculated move. Focus on growth, get stronger, earn her place through dominance, and return for the next Olympics as a locked-in leader, not a debated rookie. Let's talk pressure. No rookie in recent memory, male or female, has come into a professional league with the kind of expectations Caitlin Clark faced. From day one, she was hailed as the savior of the WNBA, the ratings magnet, the one to carry the league into a new era. But being the chosen one comes at a cost. Every step she takes is scrutinized. Every missed shot becomes a headline. Every handshake or lack thereof slowed down, analyzed, and reposted. She's played more games in the spotlight in the past 6 months than most athletes do in years. And while Clark has handled the pressure with grace, there's no denying it's taken a toll. Some critics questioned her toughness after the team. USA News broke. But others pushed back hard, pointing to the emotional strain of the WNBA schedule, media commitments, and the sheer physicality of playing against grown professionals just months removed from college. Then there's the issue of team dynamics. Several WNBA veterans have given lukewarm quotes about Clark's game and role. Diana Taurasi, for instance, made headlines with a subtle dig. Let's let her prove herself before we crown her. Others have called for rookies to earn their stripes. Could this undercurrent of tension have made Clark feel unwelcome in Team USA? Maybe. Or maybe she simply decided to take her time rather than force herself into a dynamic that didn't yet fit. Privately, sources say some Team USA veterans were relieved by her decision to step away. Less drama, one insider reportedly said, but even that comment sparked backlash. Why should a rookie's fame be labeled as drama? In the long run, this moment could define how future stars navigate the system. Clark is showing that you don't have to say yes to everything, that rest and mental wellness matter as much as medals. She may be missing the Paris spotlight now, but she's playing the long game. If her career unfolds the way many expect it to, she'll have multiple chances to compete for gold in her terms. And maybe next time, she'll arrive not as the rookie surrounded by controversy, but as the undeniable leader no one questions. As the dust settles, fans are still divided. Some are heartbroken, others are proud. But one thing is certain, Caitlin Clark's decision has once again forced the sports world to reckon with how we treat our brightest stars. And just like with Dantas, the full story may not be clear yet, but the impact is already being felt. After the twin shocks of Damiris Dantas walking away from the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark pulling out of Team USA, the basketball world has been left reeling. Fans are still trying to piece it all together. Pundits are spinning theories. But beyond the immediate drama lies a deeper, more important question. What does all of this mean for the future of women's basketball? This isn't just about two players. It's about the culture, the pressure, the branding, the expectations, and the shifting identity of the WNBA and women's sports as a whole. Let's explore how these decisions have sent ripples through locker rooms, league offices, and fan communities, and where things might be heading from here. Inside the Indiana Fever locker room, the Dantas exit felt sudden but not necessarily shocking. A few players privately admitted that Dantas had been out of rhythm and possibly frustrated with the growing Caitlin Clark-centered focus of the franchise. Others said it was just a natural part of the rebuild young teams, evolving systems, shifting priorities. As for Caitlin Clark's Team USA announcement, there was reportedly a mix of confusion and relief among players and staff. Some were surprised, others saw it coming. According to a source close to USA Basketball, there were just too many moving parts. Expectations were sky high. Felt like a media event, more than a basketball process. That tells you a lot. The mood in both organizations is now one of move forward. But forward toward what? In the media, the split has been glaring. Mainstream outlets focused on Clark's maturity and Dantas' professionalism. But within sports circles and online communities, the tone was more raw. Critics accused Clark of hiding from the spotlight after a few rough WNBA games. Others called out the league for overhyping a rookie at the expense of veteran respect. Was both pitied and praised, seen by some as a casualty of the league's obsession with new stars, by others as a smart veteran choosing her own path. The debate exposed long-standing fractures in how fans and media engage with women's sports, the old guard versus the new wave, popularity versus performance, narrative versus nuance. One thing is becoming clear. The WNBA is going through a cultural identity shift, with players like Clark becoming instant global celebrities. The league is being pushed into a spotlight it's never fully occupied before. That means growing pains. Veterans who've built their careers in relative silence are now watching rookies sign million-dollar deals, dominate headlines, and become the faces of franchises within weeks. It's understandable that some tension might bubble up, but it's also an opportunity. This cultural collision could lead to deeper conversations about respect, roles, and the growth of the Liga Dantas financially, but emotionally. How do you balance legacy with hype? How do you build a team culture that celebrates youth without disrespecting experience? Dantas and Clark may have walked away from different situations, but both moves are, in a way, statements about pressure, control, and identity in the modern WNBA. While some players have stayed quiet, others are starting to speak up. Several younger stars expressed support for Clark, calling her move bold and smart. A few veterans posted cryptic messages about earning your place and respecting the grind, which fans took as subtle jabs. Overseas stars, including several from Europe and Australia, chimed into praising Dantas for putting her national team and health first, and warning that the WNBA needs to be careful not to lose international talent to burnout or branding politics in group chats, practice gyms, and locker rooms across the league. These two stories have sparked serious discussions about roles, about media pressure, about fairness, and about what kind of league they all want to build together. On the business side, marketing execs and brand managers are watching closely. Clark's absence from the Olympics means a significant dip in projected viewership for Team USA's games. That also affects sponsorships, ad revenue, and even international brand deals. Meanwhile, Dantas' exit raises a quieter but equally serious concern. Are international stars feeling squeezed out? If the WNBA becomes too focused on domestic marketability, it risks alienating a global talent pool that's been vital to the league's success. There's also concern that young stars might start opting out more, often choosing fewer commitments to avoid the pressure. For sponsors, this makes long-term planning trickier. For fans, it changes how they connect emotionally with players. The WNBA may need to adjust not just its contracts, but its culture. What started as two players making personal choices has turned into a league-wide conversation about direction, identity, and growth. The truth is, Caitlin Clark and Damiris Dantas are just two chapters in a much bigger story. The WNBA is no longer the quiet league it used to be. It's growing fast. And with that growth comes growing pains. Clark's decision to say not yet to the Olympics was not weakness, which was ownership. Dantas' choice to walk away wasn't quitting, it was clarity. These aren't breakdowns. They're breakthroughs, signals that players, especially women athletes, are no longer just performers. They're professionals, people, and they're taking control of their journeys. If the league listens, not just to cheers and boos, but to the deeper message beneath these moves, can come out stronger than ever. This moment is more than drama. It's transformation. The WNBA is changing. And it's up to everyone, players, coaches, fans, media, to decide what that change looks like. The ball, as always, is in their hands. Was Caitlin Clark's decision a smart move for her mental health or a missed chance at greatness? Did Damiris Dantas walk away for the right reasons, or was she pushed out of a system obsessed with hype? Sound off in the comments. To hear your take, no filters, no holding back. Like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more unfiltered WNBA drama, deep dives, and breaking news. Because this is more than just basketball. It's a movement. #WNBA, #Caitlin Clark, #DAMIR is DANTAS, #Team USA, #Basketball Drama #Sports Talk.